everyone, welcome to Wingcat Sports, and it's the weekly Red Wing breakdown like usual. Not the worst week for the Red Wings, but they're in a more or less must-win situation almost every game now. They went 2-2 through the week, lost to the Senators, which they really need to beat them, and then they lost to the Hurricanes in a close game. It was a good game. But you took care of business against Buffalo, which again you should have. It was a very, very feisty game. Lots of hits, lots of fights going on in that game. And you had a very, very good game against a very good Golden Knights team. Shut them out 3-0. Mrazek played very well. He's actually started 3 times or like 3 straight games. So they're playing well. Hopefully they can get things back going again, though the schedule is not in their favor.
No, and we were talking about that last week. We know what's happening. I mean, in my personal opinion, they got to go 10-5 over their next 15, and I just can't see that happening with the schedule that they got.
So you got 15 games remaining.
Right, so they got to go 10-5 in my estimation. Are they going to get that? Because how many points are they at?
Right now, they're sitting at a nice 70 points. We're sitting
Right,
2 points back of the wild card right now.
I'm spot on then. So 10 wins would get them 20 points. You can't make the playoffs and at least not get 90 points.
I'm going to say the playoffs are fairly set except for the final wild card, which is New York Rangers currently at 72. I think Ottawa will make the playoffs now just with how things are set up unless a major collapse happens. They've earned it. They got a nice cushy lead of 3 games on Montreal, and I don't expect them to fall off too much. So Ottawa should be in the playoffs this year. Montreal came to life. They're only a point behind New York for that wild card spot currently. Columbus and Detroit are tied at 70. The Islanders and Boston are tied at 68, while Pittsburgh is sitting at 66 and Philadelphia 64, all within a good range, I guess I would say. I would probably count anyone past us out. I'm in the standings. Like I don't think the Islanders and the Bruins are going to make it, but obviously anything could happen, and they could make a run these last 15 games. But we will see what ends up happening. But this week is not the easiest week for you. You're sitting on 2 games this week. You will have the Capitals the day of making this video, and you'll have the Golden Knights on Saturday in Vegas. You are going on a road trip. You only have, I believe, 5 home games left remaining on the schedule, which is not really in your favor. But basically, you're on the road. You're going to go to Washington, and then you're going to go out west and face the Golden Knights, Utah, and the Avalanche, and then come home to play the Senators and the Bruins to end out the month. You have to have a good strong to the end of the month for anyone to have hope in you. You have to have a good
3
strong
and 1 at the least. I think
looking at
the next 4 games, they need at least.
You have 6 games remaining.
6 points on the next 4 games.
6 games remaining. If you can win somehow, if you go on a run and you win like 5, I'll be very happy. But you're probably going to go. I would hope for at least 500 to end the month. Win 3 of these games, and at least keep yourself.
I don't think that'll get them in the playoffs.
Well, you're going to have a good April. Basically, is what I'm counting on. If we can get to April still somewhat in it, and then rely on it.
They could buckle down and beat Washington. They could buckle down.
They played
and beat
well.
Vegas.
They played well against Washington earlier this year. Just a couple weeks ago or a week ago. They played very well, and they just faltered at the end of the game. If they could just play well again, maybe they could pull out a win. We just saw them beat Vegas, so if they can rekindle that magic, maybe they could beat Vegas a second time. Utah, you're a better team than Utah, but they outplayed you last time. Hopefully you can pull out a win in Utah. That you can beat Utah. Colorado's probably going to be your next toughest game after the Capitals. And then you should be able to beat the Senators and the Bruins. Should be able to.
I mean, the Senators are hot. They're one of the best teams out there right now.
But yeah, they're playing well. But you're at least are at home. So maybe you can take care of business, but we'll see. This week, if you can win one of your 2 games, I'll be happy. If you can win one of your 2 games this week. And going into Monday next week, playing Utah, but we don't really have to talk about that. I'll have a video out for that before that happens. It's 2 big games this week. If you could get even 3 points out of this week, I'll be happy.
What are their chances, do you think, that they'll make the playoffs?
Not good.
No, not good. And why? Because they did what they did the last 2 years. Can't go on a stretch. We've been saying it since probably the beginning of the year. You cannot go on a stretch where you're 1-8
Your month of April is
and
just not
expect
favorable
to have a chance. You
at
don't.
all. Your month of April concludes with you playing the Blues on the road. You come home to play the Hurricanes, the Panthers, and then you're going to go to Montreal, Florida, Tampa Bay, come home against the Stars, and then you're going to go to New Jersey and Toronto.
Right. I mean,
All not easy places to play.
no.
Um,
That
Again, though, you play Florida really
I
well.
mean, being on the
So
road might help because the pressures of being at home and that crowd booing you and you're pissed off. That might help being on the road most of the time.
it might. But hopefully they can kindle some magic from last year and just actually make it this year. But again, they're down on tiebreakers, and that's what killed them last year. And I think that's a chance of what might kill them this year, because if you and Columbus are tied for that wild card spot, Columbus gets it because they beat you. You went on 2 straight games where you lost to them. If you end up tying with Montreal, you might get lucky with a tiebreaker there. And I don't know what your tiebreaker with New York is. Um,
Right.
so overall, I don't know if you're not sitting in a good spot, because both of them
And
have more regulation wins than Montreal, so maybe you'll beat them out. But New York Rangers, they have more regulation wins than you.
and I just think those teams are playing at a much higher level at this time. I think Montreal's been very good lately, and I think you know I don't know what the Rangers have been doing lately, but
They got hot again. They
yeah,
really
well,
get into a playoff spot again.
that's what I mean. This is the time of year you have to get hot. So what are they going to do?
So it's gonna.
Last year we had 91 points. We would need more than 10 wins out of the next 5 to even match that from last year.
If you got 10 wins, you would be at
90.
90.
And I don't know if that's good enough. I don't.
It might, just with how this year's going. It might be
I
enough,
think it's, but
but barely enough. You're gonna need some.
I think anything less than 90 is almost a surefire you're not making it.
It'll be difficult. It will very much be a difficult time.
And you
Because
could have done this. I mean, like I said, you go 500 over that stretch instead of 1-8, and then maybe you have a real good chance. You would be in the playoffs right now if you just went
yes,
500 over those. If you just went 4-5 over that stretch,
coming back
you
from
would
the
be
All
in
Star
first
break,
place. Yeah, in the playoffs.
coming back from even if you split the series with Columbus, you might even still be in a wild card spot currently. But you would have more points if you would have played better through this streak. And that's not even saying anything. Through their streak, I don't even think they had some terrible games through that streak. Because you had basically this month you had a 5-3 loss to Columbus. You had a 2-1 loss to Carolina, 4-2, 5-2 again, empty net goals, 2-1 to the Senators. Through your stretch of games, there was not many games where you got blown out through that stretch. And that's the thing that sucks. You're just losing close games.
Yes.
And hopefully, again, we can just pick it up these next 2 weeks and get into April with some hope going towards potential playoffs. But we will see.
In order to have any hope, I think 3-1 is the least they could do over the next.
I think if they can get 4 wins through the rest of the month, they will be sitting in a decent spot looking at April. But we will see what ends up happening. We'll end it here, though. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, share the video around. Let me know what you think about the Wings and what they need to do. Until next time, we'll see everybody soon.